Welcome and welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful. I'm happy to be here. So I hope you're having an amazing day wherever you are. And today, whether you are watching or listening, I welcome you once again, and I want to share a little bit about the interconnectedness of all things. We live in a world where we feel separate. And I believe, as best I can figure out, that we are meant to have a sense of separateness in order to have this adventure, right? We have to come in with a veil of forgetfulness about what we really are, or the game would be up because everything's made of the same thing. But that yet we can feel that sense of separateness as our unique identity and still play the game of life, experience this life, knowing that everything is interconnected. And what I want to talk about today is how we've lost that and how we can get that back. Just exploring that a little bit, because it seems to me, in the way that we are behaving as a species, the way we see ourselves, the way we see each other, the way we see the resources of the earth, generally, we have taken it way too far. So we've gone way off to one end of the spectrum in that sense of separation and forgotten completely who we are and what we are. And there is a school of thought, literally and figuratively, called Montessori. You've probably heard of it, created by Rudolf Steiner decades ago. And one of the things that he shared that I heard on a wonderful podcast recently was he said, children take up to 7 years. And we've heard this, right? It's a formative time, 7 years to form their beliefs, 7 years to kind of solidify their understanding as they forget, as they come in fully into this world, into this physical embodiment, to really kind of get the lay of the land. And the mistake that we're making with children who aren't in the Montessori school, for instance, who don't grow up playing outside, is that they haven't had a chance to explore nature and to really witness the interconnectedness of all things. We know if you look at nature, it doesn't matter if you're looking at the universe, galaxies, any ecosystem, all the way down to the microcosm of microscopic. We'll go take it all the way down to atoms. To it doesn't matter what level you are looking at. We as the observers can see with our intellect. We can see very obviously that all of nature is interconnected. There is a symbiosis and a weaving together that happens with all of the elements, all of the different pieces to create a cohesive whole, and everything relies on everything else. I've said this before, but if one atom or one molecule was out of place or ceases to exist, everything would fall apart. There would be no physical time and space world, because it's all interdependent and all interconnected. Everything impacts everything else. It's like when a spider is on a web and you can see the web vibrating because she or he is walking on it somewhere else, but you actually can't see the spider yet, but you can see it all vibrating because it's all connected by the threads of the web. That's what life is like. There is no separation. There is no taking yourself out and being separate, and what you do doesn't impact anybody else, or keeping yourself separate from the impact of life happening to you, at you, through you, as you. So I just wanted to invite us today, excuse me, to really feel into that sense of interconnectedness, because the more you allow that, the more connected you will feel to all of life, the more you will be cognizant of your impact on everyone around you, while also just feeling energetically that you are part of life, because you are. And if we use the medical system as an example, in these last couple of 100 years, instead of us being connected to all of nature and the animals that we eat, if we eat animals, even the plants that we eat, we harvest and eat, we get things at Costco, we get things at the grocery store. And when it comes to the medical system, doctors and nurses and the entire system has been built around being taught to dissect our beautiful bodies into parts. And so we will treat a symptom instead of looking at the whole, instead of looking at the environment that a being lives in, the stress and the thoughts and the food and the input energetically and emotionally, and what this being has been through, what their experience is like, what their relationships are like. There's no way that we can take a part of a person, a physical part, a heart or a lung or anything, and actually assess what's really going on there when we look at it as a piece. We cannot. And it feels to me like the medical system is just making this giant mistake in chopping us up literally and figuratively into bits and pieces to be accessed and examined and fixed, removed, added, because that's not what we are. We are part of a bigger whole. Even our bodies, if you could see them, they're flowing energy and information. It seems linear, but it is not. It doesn't even matter. If you're talking about science, then look at quantum physics. Everything is flashing in and out of existence every nanosecond, and it just appears linear to us because we keep making the same decisions and making the same assumptions, but actually everything is flowing all the time. Some slower, some faster, and if we could see it all, we'd be God. And I'm sure it would be fascinating. And I look forward to the day, someday, when I am not in this iteration anymore. And I get to see more, perceive more. But while we are here, our left brains filter things through logic. And so unless we bring our right brain online and we learn to marry the two and really feel all of those intangibles, like our brain, our right brain is where love is, can be felt, even though it's in our heart, of course, right? Where logic ceases to have hold as much, and art can come in, downloads of beautiful music can come in and be appreciated. We need both. And we need our brain to be fully online, and we need our heart to be online. And we need to really open up our perception if we're going to see the kaleidoscope of life as being interconnected the way it really is. So what Rudolf Steiner shared was that children should share with each other as they grow the first 7 years of life in an outdoor explorative environment where they can learn how everything works together and all the symbioses that occur, and be in nature and feel the trees and learn about the mycelium underground. And I'm kind of putting words into his mouth now, but I'm just taking it and rolling with it, so they can feel and know the interconnectedness of it, and that they are part of that. We are not just looking at nature. We are nature. And then once you have that foundation, then you can learn about the bits and pieces and bring logic in and bring the intellect in, because it all goes together. But without that foundation, we're lost and we're looking at everything as separate. And it seems to me that that is a lot of what the problems we face are in this world. It stems from how far we have gone in that sense of separation, and how disconnected we are from the flow of life and information and love and, energy to and from each other. And there's so much available to us. We can open that up anytime. So that's my invitation for today. And I'll share one more story from a gal named Jill Bolte Taylor. If you haven't read her book, highly recommended. She was, I believe, a neurosurgeon, if I remember correctly, and she had a stroke. And she completely lost the capacity of her left brain. So she was left like a child. Speaking of children, she couldn't speak. She had to learn to speak again. She actually came back to full functioning. But what happened while she was in that quote unquote incapacitated state? She lost speech, she lost logic, but she was fully immersed in her right brain. She was in love. She was in ecstasy. She was in timelessness. She had that sense of flow that when you are painting or singing or doing something that, you lose that sense of time and you lose that sense of who you are. She was in that state. And once I believe her mother was integral in helping her come back to learning to walk, learning to speak, learning to function. And here she is with a brain surgery background. And this happened to her. So then she got to bring all of that online together, weave it back together again for her life experience, and then bring it to us in a book. I can't remember what it's called. It's like The Amazing Brain That Heals Itself or something like that. There are two. There's a gentleman that comes to mind that had a similar experience. So if I'm getting the two books conflated, please forgive me and go read both of them. I probably will too, because we are being asked by life to come back into wholeness, come back into interconnectedness, have our feet on the earth, know that the trees and the stars are made of the same things that we are, and to open up to that kaleidoscope and step up and play our part with full awareness of how interconnected everything really is. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to seeing you again. I thank you for being here, and I send you love now and always. Thank you again. Over and out. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you enjoyed this episode and it helped you open your heart, feel inspired, and know that we are all connected. Please subscribe and share so this work can touch more people. This is how we co-create the world we want to live in. Thank you so much again for joining us, and talk to you next time.